So things are changing at the FDA. Who's in charge? Do they know yet?
Well, after Dr. Hamburg leaves, they
Yep.
plan Dr. Stephen Ostrov will be acting commissioner.
Okay, great. And how long does it usually take to choose a new commissioner? Will it be you? Or
No, I mean, I think this depends on the time in the electoral cycle and a lot of other factors,
Okay.
because the commissioner has to be confirmed as a presidential appointee and requires confirmation. Right. So there's a long cycle that has to be gone through.
So we're going to talk about a couple topics today, very timely. One is compounding pharmacies. That was in the news 2 years ago, and now it's back in the news again through 60 Minutes. And then I'd like to talk about also second, after that, biosimilars, which was a big dramatic move you guys made after many years of deliberation. So let's talk about the compounding pharmacies. For the viewer out there, explain what it is. In other words, you can go to CVS or Rite Aid and get a pill, but then there's special medications that have to be made on the spot. And so what is a compounding pharmacy?
Sure. A compounding pharmacy is one. It could be a regular pharmacy that does compounding, or it could be a pharmacy that only does compounding. And compounding means making up a special preparation based on a prescription you get from a doctor. Say, when I was practicing, I used to ask for special prescriptions for eye drops, for antihistamines, because we didn't have the good eye drops at the time. Now you can get them in the pharmacy, and you don't need to have them compounded.
And so it's anything from ointments to injections, and that's what went so wrong up in the New England compounding pharmacy, where there was fungus infections. And so these are unusual in that the FDA as a federal agency can't quite regulate them because they're controlled by the state. What's the role there? What's the role of the state in terms of inspecting these plants versus you, the federal agency?
Well, in general, compounding is regulated as part of pharmacy practice. And pharmacy practice is regulated by the boards of pharmacy or similar organizations in each state. And they regulate the licensing of pharmacists and also the pharmacy practices in that state. And so compounding is part of that. But also, some compounding pharmacies may send drugs across state lines that they have compounded. And then obviously sometimes that can become a larger volume, and definitely FDA is interested in that. But we can also inspect any pharmacy that's compounding and look at how their practices are. Are their practices correct, or are they having some problems with quality?
Now, the Drug Quality and Security Act of 2013, was that a result of the New England compounding pharmacy and the news on that, or whether it caused or not? What is the Drug Quality Act of 2013, and how does it help the agency now deal with compounding pharmacies?
Well, that act did several things. It removed a provision of an older act that had to do with compounding that had been part of the advertising provisions that had been struck down by the courts, creating some uncertainty, all right? So it changed that and sort of reinstated that in layman's terms, okay? And then it established a new class of compounding called outsourcers who make sterile products, often for hospitals or clinics. Because what has happened is, what used to happen in the basement of the hospital, say they'd make up things, sterile products for patients. Many of those have downsized that or eliminated that and outsourced it to another organization. And this new law allows groups to sign up to be one of these groups, and then they're required to make these sterile products under good manufacturing practices, and FDA will regulate that.
So those new category of compounders are now more under the envelope of the FDA because it's the good practicing laws.
Yes, so they won't be FDA approved products. Generally, they'll be taking FDA approved products and making them into a different form, that could be used by a clinic, that might be in an office building or a hospital, or they may be actually compounding them. But whatever they're doing, they'll need to do it under the FDA regulations about quality manufacturing. However, this is the law that was passed is attempting to put in new regulations for the outsourcers who make this in bulk, make larger volumes of sterile products for hospitals generally and for outpatient clinics. And also, FDA has stepped up its regulation. And
so would those injections for the spine for pain, that was the problem in the New England pharmacy, would that now fall under this new category?
Pharmacies can register, or other facilities can register as outsourcing facilities. And there's a small user fee associated with that. And then FDA will do inspections and make sure that those facilities that are making these sterile products are making them under the proper condition.
Why would anyone want, no company wants to be more regulated. So what's the advantage? Why would they want to become, do they get better payments if they're suddenly regulated? Why would they do this?
Well, FDA is also working to put some boundaries on what traditional pharmacy compounding should look like. All right, and so we've put out different guidances and so forth, and we're working with all the state boards of pharmacy. We just had a 50-state meeting about pharmacy compounding and how the states will regulate it and how FDA will regulate it, and we're making agreements and a standard memorandum of understanding that we'll have that has to do in part with how much of the sterile products the state-regulated pharmacies would make.